Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We liked our movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey,
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks from childhood. I'm Sweetie with a Y.
And I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And today we are continuing on this trend of Jim Carrey / Carrie Elwes movies and combine the best of both worlds to get to
Liar, liar, pants on fire. Your
Jinx,
nose is longer
jinx.
than a telephone wire. You keep on telling me those lies. This
There's
is like
more
a real
words
song.
to the Liar,
Yeah,
Liar,
no.
Pants on Fire song?
No, I think it was like a pop song or something. Like that mom had maybe from the Married to the Mob soundtrack. Do you remember this? It was like a blue tape that she had in her car.
That was the blue one?
Yes.
I thought the blue tape was something else.
Or maybe it was the black one. I
There's
mean, there were like
another
two
blue
kinds of
tape.
tapes.
All
Right?
tapes are black.
No, it was no, like Madonna was blue or something. I
No,
remember.
someone was blue. It was
Yeah.
someone that Dad had. It was one that Dad had.
Anyway, Liar, Liar, guys, from 1997, directed by Tom Shadyac. Is that how you say his name?
I don't know.
Shadyac? Maybe
I
it's
don't
Shadyac,
know.
but it looks like
It's a tough
Shady
one.
AC, like Shadyac. Cool name. Tom Shadyac. First, maybe his second directorial debut was Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, like one of our favorite movies. Again pairing with Jim Carrey, so this is like another. Actually, he did quite a few with Jim Carrey. Do you know which ones?
Well, I mean, only the one that you spilled, which was Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Yep,
That's
and
it.
this one. And any other
that's
guesses?
all I know.
Oh, he did the Bruce Almighty's too.
Oh,
Or Bruce Almighty,
that's
Evan
funny.
Almighty. He did Patch Adams. Okay, has anyone ever seen that movie? That movie is sad as fuck.
No, because you told me it was sad as fuck.
Oh,
so I was
God,
like, I'm
so
never
sad.
watching that.
Anyway, so it seems that Tom Shadyac, loves to do these sort of like, humor.
Did you also do
but
Yes Man?
feel good movies. That's the one I was saying that was similar to this plot and it was more recent, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So I feel like they're a good pairing. Anyway, Tom Shadyac, hilarious. Like he didn't write it, but I think he like does good director of comedies, right?
Or at least good director of Jim Carrey.
Right.
At least, he knows how to utilize him and kind of let him spread his wings and just do his thing, I
Yeah.
think, for the most part. And I think most of it comes off as probably like improv to some degree.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. But I would say with this movie, so I think when we covered, we've covered a few Jim Carrey movies. So
Ace Ventura,
Ace
Dumb and
Ventura,
Dumber, The Mask.
Yep. The Mask and Batman Forever.
Forever.
And, Jim Carrey had craziest moment in the 90s, right? Because he really came to fame in Ace Ventura and then it was like a swift ride up from there, right? And he really did like a lot of let's say more zany ones before this. So he did like Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, what we just said, The Mask, ones where he had like a costume involved and stuff like that. So I think this was his first one that became like everyday man in zany situations kind of a plot instead of like being zany from the get-go. You know what I mean?
I mean, he was a little zany from the get-go. He always had the claw, right?
No, definitely. But
But
like,
it gave him the opportunity to act as zany as it gave him the opportunity to allow him to use that physical comedy that he's so good at.
Right.
Yeah. So,
but which like as he's moved into more dramatic stuff, obviously like that part of it has like lessened, but never is gone completely. I feel like with him.
yeah,
right?
there's always like one
Something.
moment, Eternal Sunshine. There's like that one very brief moment where he's like pretending to be dead on the floor or something, and you see that there as well. Haven't checked the number 23. Not sure.
Right, like the scary
on
ones.
that one. But
And I really almost see him because you have like we say this all the time, like it's so easy to go, not easy, but it's definitely you forget that people who are comedians or actually can be like really well-rounded actors. And with Jim Carrey, and then I would also say like Robin Williams, like especially. And when we did Hook, we talked about how, Robin Williams was like, cast for that role because he could like, play this normal person and then be like this, zany character. And I feel like Jim Carrey has kind of slotted into that role like a little bit too. And probably some of the more like, has Jim Carrey gotten any like high acting award nods at all?
He was nominated for that show on he did on Showtime, I think, the
Oh
kidding
yeah,
show or
was
whatever.
he nominated for
Eternal Sunshine?
No, the Andy Kaufman one,
Oh,
Man in the Moon. He might have been
maybe?
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like he's coming up, and yeah, he has that new show on Showtime. So he's like kind of, I think, coming back into the spy a little bit because, dude, Jim, I miss you for like so many reasons, but like you are so funny. Hello.
He really is. And I
God,
don't know
he's
if
so
I'll
funny.
ever like find. Sometimes I think you're like, I'll grow out of like certain kinds of humor, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of movies we've watched, I'm like, this is embarrassing now when I thought it was really funny. But I still generally think that like all of the Jim Carrey comedy, maybe except for like a few things in The Mask, are funny.
Yeah.
But I thought like everything in this movie was still funny. Like there wasn't a part where I was like, that's too much.
Oh
like,
yeah,
over
no,
the top.
I know. I mean, honestly, like bold statement for me, but like I think Jim Carrey is like the funniest person. Like I don't think I've yet to find someone who is funnier to me than Jim Carrey.
Nice, yeah.
And
I support that.
yeah, I mean, it's almost like what I think about Tom Hanks. I've not been able to find an actor I love as much as Tom Hanks. He's really just like up there for me. So it's interesting as obviously like comedy is, coming into its own thing now. Tons of like, I feel like there's so many stand-up specials now. Like everyone is like
I
a
know.
star.
I'm sick of it.
Stand-up special.
I don't
person.
watch those. I've never
don't
watched
either.
one of those. I don't. It's just not something that like I have. I want on my radar.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't really care about them. But yeah, we need more. I mean, now women are really rising,
Yeah,
right, in comedy. So that's good. That's great.
Definitely.
But Jim, love you.
But Jim, awesome. So anyway, long story short, I'm just meandering here on my
This
my thesis on
podcast
comedians.
is now named the Jim Carrey Appreciation Podcast.
Anyway, so I would say Jim Carrey's 90s boom, right? And like I said, so plot a liar, liar, cool. It's original, okay? Love it. In the 90s, yeah, there was like a good amount of original comedies, but you know how there's like nothing seems to be like that original anymore? It's like, and it's just like remakes or like two come out at the same time and you're like, what? So I feel like I really appreciate that movie. Again, I would say, okay, I think this movie is three things, right? I think it's every man put into zany scenario. Check. Good old magic wish trick.
Fulfillment, yeah.
And bad dad.
Bad dad. He's a bad dad. What was that song you made up?
Bad dad.
To the tune of something?
Bad
You're
dad.
like,
Bad dad. Yeah.
that's it? Oh.
No, but I like that one.
Okay.
Bad dad.
Consider
bad
it.
dad.
But you had a really
Yeah.
good one during like Hook or something.
Yeah.
Or like, he's a bad dad. Pajama? I don't know. But yeah, I agree with that. Lots of stuff going on here. But yeah, overall, it's your normal everyday movie except with magical realism spin kind of thing.
Magical
that like
realism.
nobody is really that like wowed by. I'd be like, should we study this? Like, can we like have several people make birthday wishes
Yeah.
that they actually mean?
Well, okay, let's
and
try.
why did none of my birthday wishes come true?
totally.
Because I meant those.
Let's like make a list of like the wish comes true like movies, right? Okay, so obviously biggest one. Inspiration for us would be Big, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like some kid, I wish I were big. He doesn't have that accent.
Yep.
Who the fuck is that? It's like a southern.
Who are you? What'd you do with my
A southern cowboy. I wish I were big.
It's just like the Brokeback Mountain. I wish I knew how to quit you.
Yeah, so that's obviously like the main one when anyone thinks of this like as a good one, sweetie. Magical realism, love it. Those kind of movies. So you had Big, right? You had let's say like Freaky Friday. Is that like?
Well, those are more like you think you have it easy, I have it easy. It's that like
But she still went to like the random Chinese food restaurant and they like switched them.
it was a fortune though. It was like not a wish.
Vice versa.
Also, the same thing as Freaky Friday though, where they were like, you couldn't last one day in my shoes.
13 going on 30.
I forget what the sitch with that one was.
She's like in a dollhouse or something and crying and like glitter on the dollhouse falls. It's like weird.
Does she wish to be big?
something like that. But
Okay.
I don't know if she like says it out loud. I don't know.
I
I've only seen it once.
want to be 30. What kind of wish is that?
I know. Don't. What about that one with Zach
Efron.
Chandler Bing and Zach?
2017 again
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, I saw it but I don't remember what the
That was pretty
situation
good.
was.
Was that a wish though?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty, but yeah. So this pretty original concept, pretty cool. What else? We got Carrie Elwes is in this as well, who we
Yep.
just spoke about in Robin Hood Men in Tights, which we did last week.
Yeah.
Love that guy. And it's funny that because we talked about Liar Liar in that podcast episode, because we were like, he can be a funny guy, a good guy, or a bad guy. And you know what? I mean, I'll say this later, but in this movie, I think he combines the best of both worlds, because he's like a really like, I mean, he's a drip. I'll just say it. He's a drip.
I was going to use the term goober.
Okay.
Jerry is a
He's a
goober.
total drip, but I also feel like he could be a serial killer.
I know.
So like he's like towing the line, right? But he's great. Maura Tierney, ER.
Yep.
Big on ER. She's on The Affair now. She also had a good resurgence in the 90s, I think, as a result of ER. So she was kind of one of these women who just like pop up in random like
Somebody's
movies as a wife. And then the little kid who is not Jake Lloyd.
I just said Little Kim. I was like, what?
Yeah, she's in it. You have to look quick or you miss it. And the little guy, which is, did you write down his name? No, we don't care.
No, but known for wait, you said Home Alone 3, but I didn't see that on his thing.
Oh, I guess that's wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe he just looks
He was
like
in
that
some
kid.
90s shows, but this was like really his big movie.
Yeah, I guess it was just this.
Man, that mop top is just
It's
killer.
too much. It's like the twins in Full House.
Let's
like,
remember
why?
when the mushroom cut was a big deal.
Yeah, it was. Justin Cooper.
Yeah, I think he was on like some like one-off TV shows,
Yeah.
like hour-long dramas.
He was on one episode of ER. I wonder if Maura Tierney operated on
that
him.
would be weird. You know who else is in this?
What?
The lady from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh,
She's the secretary.
yeah. Greta.
Yeah, Greta. Loved her in that.
And your favorite?
Swoozie Kurtz. Okay, if that is not the best name for an actress in the entire world, like, you got me. That's insane. She's funny as like the rival attorney. You also have Sherry O'Terry, almost unrecognizable, in glasses and crazy hair.
In a very small role, yeah. Yep. And Jennifer Tilly, who is the like slutty client that Jim Carrey is trying to defend.
Yep.
Who did several wrong things but wants to get away with it. She is also, actually was also pretty big in the 90s. She's in that horrible movie House Arrest, which I've talked about, I think, maybe once or twice. She is the voice of the girl Chucky doll in The Bride of Chucky is like her big thing. So yeah, it's, it's a good, interesting cast of 90s characters that I'm into. But so experience watching this, we owned this one on VHS. Our dad kind of went through a phase where he'd like find movies in the bin at the supermarket or something and buy them.
I think we saw this in the movie theater though.
Probably, but
Because
we
I
owned
think
it too.
after Ace Ventura, I'm pretty sure I saw every Jim Carrey movie in the theater after that. I would like never not see one, so it makes sense to me.
Yeah, but we had it also.
Yes,
and I remember,
but we liked it so much.
yeah,
it was one
I
of
would
those
watch
things.
it. I would
Yeah,
watch it like
a lot.
pretty frequently
Yeah.
to the point where like I had inside jokes with myself.
Yeah.
About like, oh, here's the clown part, and I just would sing that randomly, be like, happy, 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 and I'd like walk around the house singing that. Sometimes I don't know, it's just something I do. But I loved this movie. I still love it, and I think it holds up, and it still has laughs, and it's well paced, and it's not too long. I think overall, I'm pleased.
It's perfect.
Perfection. All right, cool. Well, should we talk about it?
Sure.
Okay.
It's time for the sweetie synopsis. Yeah, sweeties. My teacher says beauty's on the inside. That's just something ugly people say.
My fave. Fletcher Reed is a defense attorney in Los Angeles who, he's not a great guy. He is defending people who are doing wrong, and he's not holding up the what's it called? The lawyer
oath. Lawyer oath. You're thinking of Hippocratic oath for
I am
doctors?
thinking of that.
I don't know what the
what is the lawyer one?
well,
when you do the
Constitution?
thing on the Bible, the like, do you
Constitution
swear to
is really the law.
So he does whatever he can to win. That includes lying. He's a big liar. He also lies like in his everyday life, like when he's like, "Oh, son, who I love, I will be there to celebrate your birthday," but then he doesn't because he's a shit.
Yeah, it's like I'm a little conflicted by this because, okay, it's not that Fletcher is a bad dad per se, because obviously him and that little boy, his son, have like an awesome relationship and they're so cute, and he obviously like really does his son. Part of it is he's a lawyer, and like that isn't an excuse. Like you shouldn't be not showing up for your kid when you're a lawyer, but that is a demanding job, and it just seems to be that he's late all the time, and
Which is the usual trait of a bad dad, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I gotta make it to the baseball game.
Yeah. Like,
oh, I'm late again.
doesn't show up for things, and I think there is like you've no doubt that he loves his son, but obviously like he's a little bit into his job and he's himself, I guess.
Yeah. So at this point, he's trying to make partner, which is like always a big theme with like lawyer movies and like lawyer shows. You're like, gotta make partner. So so setting the scene here. It's Max's birthday coming up. Fletcher is divorced from his wife. She's been dating this drip, Jerry, for 7 months. Total drip. And then he's got Max like the day or two before his actual birthday, right? So they're going to go to wrestling and they're going to do all these fun things. So they have this big case, I guess, at the law firm, which apparently is happening the next day, which is like very aggressive. Like, as far as I know, trials take a very long time, but whatever. So the guy who was originally supposed to defend this case is like, Miranda, who's the bitchy lady in the law firm or whatever. I'm not going to tell a lie. This woman didn't do anything right. She's bad. I'm not doing it. Yeah. So she's like, well, I'm just going to have to find someone who will lie. And she's like, Fletcher.
But like, as defense attorneys, don't you like kind of do lie?
So, sweetie, I don't think they're supposed to like admit that. Like, I think that like that is, yeah, probably, but they're supposed to not. I mean, you're supposed to, use the evidence and whatever to like, and then all the stuff to make your case and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I mean, I really felt for that guy who was like, I'm not going to work on this case because I need to tell the truth or whatever. Like, good for you, buddy, because that is how it should be.
Right.
But I think they do come up with like creative ways to maybe like, like skirt around the truth.
Yes.
Let's
yeah.
say.
I think that's more accurate.
Yeah. But you're a defense attorney. That's why it's like a tough job.
Right.
It's about your client. It really isn't about like finding the truth. Like, be a prosecutor if you want to find the truth.
But like on all the lawyer shows we watch, they're like, you have to tell me the truth or I can't help you. So like, as far as they know, I think that's always the stance. As far as they know, their client is truthful. So like unless the client is purposely lying, if the client lies to the lawyer and the lawyer doesn't know, then the lawyer's going to, you know what I mean?
But
like there's not like a truth serum or like a truth
No,
test.
I know. But like when you're someone's lawyer, if someone's like, hey, I did it, but like you can't tell anybody.
That's why you're not supposed to like, I don't know. I think that at that point a lawyer is supposed to walk away from the case in that. I don't know.
Man,
I think you have to be honest.
Who is a defense lawyer? Who can tell us what happens?
Will's a something else lawyer, but I don't know. Yeah, it's lawyers tweet us.
I just have a lot of questions.
Yeah,
anyway, go on.
You can be a guest. Anyways, so last minute he gets this stupid case and he gets like all these case files and he's like, Max, sorry, we have to cancel the wrestling. I have to do all this work. Sucks. Max is super sad. Also, Fletcher forgot to buy him a birthday present. Weird.
That wrestling was the present.
Right. Like, wasn't that why you were going to wrestling? I don't know. So, Max is sad again. Another disappointment here. And Fletcher's now taking this case. So, the case is this woman and a man have, like, she cheated on him. So, because of that, like, the prenup should go into, the prenup says, like, you can't, if she cheats on him, she gets nothing in the settlement or whatever. So they went to court for it, and so Fletcher's supposed to like defend her in this thing. So they had this whole plan of this whole like grand scheme and lie and story to make her husband seem like this awful person when that's really not the truth. So, cut to Max's actual birthday. All his friends and family is there. There's a weird clown there. not happy about it, but he is sad, like basically cries over his birthday candles, which I've done before. It's a very sad moment. You don't want to do that. But
when did you cry over your birthday
my
candles?
14th birthday, it was just like a disappointing birthday. I just thought it was going to be so much
was it
more
the
fun.
Family cake or with your friends?
And I was just like, it was just embarrassing. I was just like, wasn't having a good time, and it was just like, it was my birthday. That was when I knew birthdays were over. Like, the
oh
fun.
my god, I'm learning so much stuff about you in the last like couple
I've said
days.
that before.
You, never mind. I was gonna go into the you hit the old man with the car story you told me.
Okay,
the other
we don't
day.
need to tell everybody about that. Okay, thank you. Great.
She didn't hit him with a car, guys.
I did tell you that. You just forgot. So I'm just learning so much. It's like the movie. It's all the truth coming out. God. So the birthday, Max is like, blow out your candles. So Max is like, okay, and he wishes, I wish my dad couldn't tell a lie for a whole day. Okay, so that like whole day edition is a little silly because it's like, why would Max be like, only one day though? Like,
maybe deep down he knew he did have to really lie. I've like honestly forgot that this movie takes place in the course of a day. Like,
right.
Yeah, I forgot. I mean, not that it's that like long or anything like that, but I just like, I don't know. I forgot it was just one day.
I know, it's crazy. So that's 8:15 p.m. that happens. So
late party for a 5-year-old.
It takes to effect immediately. So immediately Fletcher cannot lie, and he just like is spouting out truths. If somebody asks him a question, he has to tell the truth. He always has to like say what he's like actually thinking, that kind of thing. It's tough, and it's really unfortunate for him because he's a lawyer and he needs to lie in this case because it's all a lie.
But he's also a person.
Yeah.
And you do realize how like, right, the little white lie is something that exists in society. Yeah. Like, it is dangerous to tell the truth all the time. I mean, that's the moral of this movie, guys.
Is it right? Sure. Should you always do it? No. So he's, it varies from like just like overly harassment wise, like women, like just as like, you have giant boobs, kind of like that kind of lie. I mean, truth, to like seeing like a fat guy in the hallway and being like, I'll go on a diet, fatty, like that kind of thing, which is very hurtful. And obviously that is a case where like you don't want to tell the truth. Right.
Because it does seem like his truth serum, or whatever you want to call it, is like half based off of like he doesn't have a filter, like kind of a thing. And so he's just saying things that he's kind of like thinking, right? But then the other is like blatantly like very mean, cruel things. So that's when you realize that he's like kind of a huge jerk.
Which is like, is that true? That's like, who is determining, I guess, the truth in those cases? Like, who's determining that guy actually is, I don't know. Like, sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes I think they like stretch it a little bit. But overall, he can't lie. That's the facts. Yep. So he starts freaking out because he's like, how am I going to do this case? How am I going to win this case if I can't lie? So he like, tries a couple things, tries to pretend he's sick, but he can't because he can't lie. His secretary quits when she finds out that like he didn't give her a raise out of his own pocket, which like was like kind of weird.
But like lawyers make so much money, so you can afford to do that.
We can afford to do it, but like I'm more upset that company couldn't afford to give her a raise because they're raking in the chips, right?
I know.
Like,
she did a lot of stuff,
bullshit.
Greta.
Like, take it out on the company, Greta. He's a single dad. He has to support his son. So like, whatever. No. But so then he tries something. Oh, I know. I'll beat myself up in the bathroom and pretend that someone beat me up so I can't go on with the case.
Are you going all the way to the end?
Well, I mean, there's like stuff in the middle. He finds out that Max did a wish to do this, so he tries to have Max undo it. Brings a cake to his school. Is like, do that again. Max is like, okay, but like, P.S. It's not my birthday, and I didn't really mean that wish because I did mean it last time.
Yeah.
Which is true, and like maybe that's the problem with my birthday wishes. Maybe I don't mean it enough. Also, sometimes I think I blank before I blow out. Like, I'm like, how about, like, I'm always like, I got to do a wish. But then when I'm blowing, I'm like, I forgot the wish.
Yeah, that's the reason.
So I've definitely fucked it up. So I'll try it this year, and see what happens. Yeah. But, so it doesn't work.
I want to say something.
We can talk about other plot things involving the mom, the ex-wife.
Oh, no, I want to do that. But I also want to say that, like, along the way, so initially I feel like he feels that the wish is just, like, it's not, like, for a reason. He thinks, oh, like, Max just wished it, so, like, that's why. But then he starts to realize that maybe basically that, like, him saying all these truths, he's kind of realizing how bad of a dad he is, right?
Yeah.
So that's slowly being like trickled throughout all these little things because he can't lie and he, essentially can't lie to himself, right? So like he probably knew he was like a pretty shitty dad, but was just lying to himself about it and like, oh, it's my work or it's this or that. And he is even coming to realize like what a shit he is. So it's really like, kind of looking in the mirror. Meanwhile, his ex-wife, Maura Tierney, has been dating Goober Jerry for 7 whole months, guys.
Whoa, look out.
And frickin' Goober Jerry is like, will you marry me? Okay. So obviously when I watched this as a kid, that didn't even dawn on me that like, oh, like they've been dating, like totally cool to get engaged after 7 months. That's like crazy.
Yep.
And never mind engaged being like, oh, and uproot your life and move across the country.
Yeah.
Like,
so I love you.
Yeah. So that's the plan. So it feels like the mom is in like a pretty low place, right? Mm-hmm. Because what I like about this movie is that you don't get the feelings that she like has any feelings for Fletcher until the end. But like the whole movie, you're like, okay, that relationship is definitely over, and she's just like worried kind of like about her son and like moving her life along. So I really like that about their relationship. But I forgot where I was going with that. Oh yeah. So but she's like, I think she's in a bad place because she's like, you know what? Like, I'm going to do this move. Because she's just sick of his crap.
Yeah, she's upset that Fletcher she doesn't want to see Max be hurt anymore. Like, he just has a couple of really sad things where he's like, I just don't want Dad to lie anymore. Yeah. And it only hurts when, like, you lied. That's sad. So she just feels awful. So she's like, we have to get out of here. So they I guess, are going to move to Boston, but not yet. When I was little, I always thought that was the move. Thought that was the move also. But then like we're thinking about it, we're like, wait a minute. This is like in the course of a day, like their whole house is still there. Like she needs to make plans. He needs to, they have to get a new school. Yeah. Like there's preparation that has to happen. So I think when she says we're leaving for the plane at 8, she means they're just going there to like visit.
It's
check
April
it out.
Vacation or whatever.
Yeah. So don't worry, guys. We figured it out.
Maura Tierney, like, please do not move to Boston with a guy you've been dating for 7 months with your child.
Who's adrift. Yeah, please don't. So meanwhile, Fletcher tries to beat himself up in the bathroom to like get out of doing this case. Doesn't work because unfortunately the judge asks him, okay, we'll postpone the case unless you feel you're okay to continue. And of course he is. So he says, yes. So he has to go through with it. So now he has to try to win this case without being able to tell a lie. And at first it doesn't go well because he like brings the sketchy boyfriend on the stand who she cheated on her husband with. And it just goes terrible. He's like, you had sex with her, didn't you? And he like, it's bad. So he's like, great, this is over. It needs to end now. So he's going to almost end the case when Jennifer Tilly's character is like, I don't want to turn into like a 31-year-old. She says something about her age that makes him go like, what? So he like looks back in his photocopies because for some reason they have a photocopy of her license and birth certificate, I guess, included in that paperwork. Right. So he like compares them and notices something. So he's like, Your Honor, I call Samantha whatever to the stand. So he calls her up to the stand, and basically through telling this is all true, is she lied on her her marriage license. Oh, that's what it was, the marriage license certificate. She lied on her marriage license so that she could get married because she was only 17 at the time. And in the state of California, minors cannot like do any sort of contract stuff without parental consent or it's null and void. So that means the prenup, you guys, is not valid. So she's entitled, so because they now effectively don't have a prenup, she's entitled to exactly half of his estate, which is $11.395 million. That's
a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. And we don't stop there. She's like, I want full custody of the kids too, because then I get $10,000 in child support. That's crazy.
Yeah. Those kids are living large.
Yeah. So then they have to do that, and so he wins the case, but immediately feels awful about it because the guy, her ex-husband now, is a great dad, and the kids really love him. And this woman he just helped win this case for is a monster, a literal monster. And so he feels awful. But he can't do anything about it now. It's too late. Yeah. But you know what he can do something about? He can save his relationship with Max.
Yeah.
So rushes off to the airport, goes to like try to intercept the plane, but it's like about to take off. So he like hijacks one of those like moving stair things. It's a very dangerous scene where he like leaves it running and then climbs the stairs and does like the thing that like puts you up high. So he's like up by the big plane windows. It's a giant plane. And finds the the family.
Yep.
And is like, hi. He's like, I made it.
I made it.
It's pretty funny. So then the plane stops because they think it's like a hijacking situation or something unsafe. And he goes flying off the thing and like breaks both his legs. But now we're past 8:15. And so Max thinks that he's still able to not tell a lie. And he's like saying him all these things like, I love you, Max. I don't want to lose you. You can't move. And then Jerry's like, okay, you guys don't have to move to Boston with me. I guess I'll just go by myself. And then he's like, but this plane ticket is still valid if you want to come visit me, honey. And she's like,
Jerry, the relationship is over.
And it's sad. It's like, boy, it's done. Like, sorry. That's fine. So all is well and good. Cut to 1 year later. It's Max's birthday again. He gets to make a wish again. And they're like, careful with that wish, son. He's like, okay, Dad. And then he makes his wish. And in between the time it took Max to blow out the candles, which was maybe like 3 seconds, Fletcher and, what's her name? Shit. I just call her Martini. Yeah, I know, me too. Fletcher and Maura are locking lips. And they're like, did you wish that we would get back together? And he's like, no, I wish for rollerblades. And they're like, damn. So now they're like, they're doing a thing again, which is nice. I think it was a nice ending. It's like, yeah, it's happy ending.
Yeah,
they're back together.
I know. Sometimes I don't like those ones where the divorced parents.
But I think it's nice because I think that fundamentally he has truly changed.
Right. I think he is a new person. And I mean, not who's to say? Maybe they didn't make it. I mean, I don't always love the like these movies for kids where it's like divorced parents and like like they're gonna patch things up and like that happens very rarely, guys.
That's true.
And I just want you to know that like sometimes if your parents get divorced, it's a good idea, and you'll be happy and they will be too. But like that was like some like weird thing for a while, but I feel like in the 90s they sort of stopped, or no, maybe in the 2000s they kind of made that like peace, being like, okay, let's not like
let's not push
like
push
the Parent Trap style. Okay, guys, the Parent Trap is not gonna happen. Like that guy did not change at all. Yeah. But I like your theory about how I feel like he is a new man.
I really think so. Yeah. So great, good, yeah, excellent. Okay, what should we start with first? Our favorite lines.
Sure.
Okay. So I surprisingly actually have a good chunk of lines that I love and that I would probably use in everyday life should the opportunity arise, which often in these cases it does not, but sometimes it does. Okay. So my favorite one is when he's like, it's newly in his realization that he can't lie. He's in the elevator at work. And all these people are like holding their noses. And he's like gripping his suitcase super tight. And he like walks out with this like scrunched up face. And he like turns around and he's like, it was me. And then like runs away because he farted. And everyone's like, who farted? And he's like, it was me. And I don't know. I love that. So like whenever I do something, not fart, but like just like if someone's like, who did this? I'm always like, it was me. I don't know. I think it's funny. It's a funny thing. What do you got?
Okay, so my one of my favorite scenes, and also a line that I randomly use in everyday life. It's gonna make me sound like a pervert, but I do. Okay, so right when he discovers, this is just when he discovers when he can't.
After.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So the wish happens, and he is actually having sex with his boss with these like crazy bangs. Her hair like bugs me to no end. Her
suits bug me.
Yeah.
They look like pajamas.
Yeah, she's weird. She's like crazy body too. She's like all like skinny and like okay, so the wish happens and had just had sex with the boss, which was like a bad idea. He didn't like her at all, right? But like he thought it would help him get partner. Almost like the reverse like gender stereotype, which is cool. I like that scarf like that. It's really good. Andre just tied her hair in this like beautiful scarf, and it was, but like you put it up anyway. So just had sex with the lady, and then she's like, wow, that was, as one would say after sex, wow, that was so good. And he's like, I've had better. Couldn't lie, guys. Couldn't lie about it. So he gets kicked out of bed, and he's like, oh God, like, and just think, I think at that point thinks it was just like a slip of the tongue or like whatever. So he gets ready to work the next day, goes in the elevator of his building, and there's a girl with, I would say, like a decent sized pair of breasts.
Decent rack.
And he starts talking to her, hey, like you're new in the building, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and she's like, yeah, people have been so nice to me. And he goes, and you think he's going to say something like, yeah, we're really nice here or something like that. He goes, that's because you got big jugs. I mean, and this is the part that I always say, I mean, your boobs are big. I want to squeeze them.
So, so set us, I mean, like, how would you use that in everyday life? Please tell us.
What do you mean? Oh, it's always just like someone like commenting like, oh, my boobs look so big, or like, or I'll say this sometimes, as a woman, your boobs are bigger some days than others. And I'm like, your boobs are big. I don't know. I just say it. I think
you say it to me sometimes when I'm like wearing like a revealing shirt. You're like, I mean, your boobs are big. And you always say the like, I mean, your boobs are big. Yeah.
When
it's
I'm
a good line.
correcting myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly how I use it.
Yeah.
Good one. I say it to you a lot.
The other one I like at the end when he's determining that she lied on her marriage certificate, he asks her all these questions like, here, what's your weight? And she says like 10. Oh, it's on her license, 101 or something. 105. And he goes, yeah, in your bra. So, a lot of boob jokes in this, which, like, whatever. It's the 90s. Boobs were huge, literally. But I just like to say that. Like, I just always like to be like, when I'm, like, in disbelief about something, I'll just always be like, yeah, in your bra.
In your bra.
Even though that's not related, but I like it. I just like the way he says all that stuff. It's just great.
Oh, it's great. And like, yes, there's like the physical comedy part of this is a huge, and why he was
You're
like
such a copycat. You tied your scarf just like mine.
I did. So well cast in this, but his little zingers, especially in like the beginning when he's interacting with his wife and just being like a jerky ex-husband, those are like amazing. And then once he gets into the not being able to lie side, like, yeah, all his like, I don't even know how to describe it, like intonations or like how he uses
Tourette's?
his face with it. It's just like, it's so brilliant, and it's just like a great mix of, I think, a really good script and really good jokes, but also like the comedy and the physical comedy like coming in there. Okay, I already did this one, so I'll just go quick with this one. Because I said it's my opener. Max is like, Dad, like, why do you have to lie? And like, he's trying to explain to them, kind of like we talked before, like the little white lie is something that as an adult, like you do use quite frequently, to keep the peace, to not seem like an asshole. There's many reasons why you would tell a little white lie. So he's trying to describe like instances why people would lie and stuff like that. And like, oh, your mom lies, and even Jerry lies, and all that stuff. And then he says, what does it say to make the little Max say, but my teacher says?
My teacher says beauty's on the inside.
No, but why what was he commenting on somebody being ugly or something?
The story about the mom being pregnant.
Right. So he tells me the story about how when she was pregnant with Max, she gained 40 pounds and Daddy was scared. But she would be like, oh, how do I look? And he would say, as a nice like husband, you look great, honey, when really she was looking a little bit fat, which she would have. She had a baby inside
look
her.
Great and fat, guys.
Anyway, so then Max goes, but my teacher says beauty's on the inside. And he goes, that's just something ugly people say.
That's just something ugly people say.
Which is
hilarious.
Kind of true.
It's kind of true.
But nobody's ugly. Everyone is beautiful on the
You
inside.
are beautiful. Okay, my next favorite one is so Fletcher keeps getting in trouble again. He can't lie, so he gets pulled over, and then it says all the things that he's done, and opens his glove compartment to reveal like literally 2,000 parking tickets. So the cop impounds his car. So Maura Tierney comes and helps him like break it out of impound jail or whatever. And he's like so mad that it costs like as much as it does. And he's like, he just like, and I can guarantee this is just something Jim Carrey just like did on the fly. Yeah. But there's like one of those little like pine tree air fresheners like hanging up on the wall. And he's just like so mad. He just like looks at the guy and he's like, I'm taking this. And he like takes the air freshener and is like, so like Whenever I'm like in a mad situation, if I'm like annoyed at someone or like in a bad mood, I'm always in my head like, I'm taking this, and then like take a pen or something and like leave. I don't know. I think it's hysterical. I love that part.
Yeah, so good. At one point, he has this guy who has he's always representing in court because he like keeps committing crimes, and his name's Skull, I believe. And he like calls and he just like
Come jail again.
What did he do? He
knocked
jail?
over an ATM
He knocked
machine.
over an ATM machine. And Fletcher just like marches to the phone and because the secretary is like, tell him he needs to know what he should do and blah blah blah. And he's in like on the phone in jail and he just grabs the phone. He's like, stop breaking the law, asshole.
Yeah, I think we should start using that in everyday life more frequently. I think that's a good one. It's a good one. And then the last one I have, believe, yes, is the pen is blue, which it's this pretty like outlandish scene where he thinks, oh, I know, if I can't like say a lie, maybe I can write a lie. So he sees his blue pen on his desk and he's like, this is the test. Like this pen is, and he tries to say the word red, doesn't work. So he's like, I'm gonna write it. So he starts writing and he tries, and for some reason his hand like takes control over everything. And I don't know if it's like, I mean, this is a scene where like it gets a little crazy because you're like, who is in charge of that hand? Like the truth is like so powerful that it like is possessed and like is crazy. So the pen starts like writing everywhere and like writes all over his face. So then he like comes up from the thing like all crazy, and all over his face is the word blue. So he's like, the pen is blue. The pen is blue.
Except on his jawline where it's randomly written BB King. That was in the trivia.
So many good Easter eggs. But I love that. So like I don't see blue pens too often, but if I do, you can sure as hell bet that is what I'm saying to myself in my head. The pen is blue. The pen is blue.
The pen is blue. I'm blue. Die. If I was green, I would die.
That's not the word. I was just going to say, remember when everybody thought the lyric was, if I was green, I would die? Yeah. So any other?
And I think the big thing from this movie that everyone remembers is the claw, right? So apparently this is something that Jim Carrey's dad did to him and his siblings. So cute. Taking it biographical. Good one, Jim. So a big thing that he does with Max Fletcher, he has this thing called the claw, and he like just basically it's his like arm comes to life and he goes the claw, and he like talks like that, and like Max like gets a kick out of it. He loves it. So that's funny in itself, but it's even funnier, I think, when Jerry like. So the mom is trying to explain, I don't know why you would have to explain this to your boyfriend of 7 months, why her son prefers her father to Jerry. Like, Jerry, no. Like, don't even go there.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah. So anyways, she's like, well, like, they have this great relationship, and he does the claw. And Jerry's like, I can do the claw. So, like, Jerry, okay,
she
again.
describes it to him, and she uses her whole arm.
Right. That's why Jerry's
Maybe he's like, I'll put my own spin on it.
Well, then you shouldn't have called it the claw. Make up your own thing. Like, who steals somebody's bit?
I don't know. Yeah, that's rude.
So Jerry, they're at the airport, and he's like, Max, I got something for you. And he takes out, he's like, look, it's the claw. And he just uses his finger, and he's just like poking Max, and he's like, you're scared of the claw. You're scared. Like, that's funny, man. And I guess Carrie always people still come up to him and do like the fake claw thing.
That's good. That's
know.
good. Good stuff. Good stuff. Any other funny lines?
That's
I mean, there's a lot, but those
yeah,
are the
there's
ones
so many,
we wrote
but
down.
Yeah, those are the ones I remember and laughed at the hardest.
Okay.
So,
just want to give a shout out to poor Max, who has 2 nicknames to pick from: either Max the Creep or the Gipper. So you can either be called a creep or Ronald Reagan's nickname.
yeah, so the Gipper was Ronald Reagan's nickname. Forget why, but okay. Do not call a 5-year-old that. Maybe, what could be the reason he'd be called the Gipper?
Let's look
What's
it
a Gip?
Well, it's not like Jip, but like, let's see. Gipper. I'll just do Gipper. Okay. George Gipp comes up first. He's a football player in a very long time ago. So we don't mean him.
Okay.
Wow. George Gipp really comes up. All right. Win one for the Gipper.
That's the
Coach.
Ronald Reagan.
That's the U.S. Notre Dame
Oh.
team. Okay. There's a lot of people named Gipper. Who knew?
Is Ronald Reagan still the Gipper?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I'm like, is that right?
But I don't understand why. Oh, here we go. How Reagan got his Gipper nickname. He earned not during his years in politics, but one for his most famous screen roles. Oh, he played this football guy.
Oh,
George
the
Gipp.
Gipper. Oh, and then win one for the Gipper, I think became like
Yeah.
even as campaign slogan.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why. Okay.
Yep. That's what he said in the movie. Win one for the
the
Gipper.
Gipper. Yeah,
Reagan says in the film.
Ronald Reagan, the actor. See,
You can use it all the time.
oh my god, yeah. So who knows why he calls him that? But bad nickname.
weird.
I prefer the creep.
Again.
I think that's funny.
Jerry, you're the Gipper.
creep.
Um,
he's a
I
Gip.
think so. It's funny because I'm like watching this, and the Carrie Elway's character is just like very creepy to me. He's
totally.
like soft spoken,
Down
like
to like they chose to dye his
sweet,
hair.
Dyed his hair. He speaks in a regular, like an English, not a British accent, but like an American accent, which are like, Sweetie was like, why do they do that? And I was like, probably because he would have been too charming
Definitely.
if he was
Likeable.
British. And he'd be like, oh, I'm conflicted. It's like Pierce Brosnan and Mrs. Doubtfire. Like, do I hate you? I don't know.
I can't hate you.
But in this case, they just make him like so creepy, and the stuff he says is creepy, and the fact that like he's moving so quickly in this relationship is creepy. And we just noticed this little tidbit is like we think on the plane is the first time he says "I love you" to her after he's already proposed to her.
Stuff's
What's
going backwards in
on?
that relationship.
So then
and
I'm like,
Jerry, slow your roll.
So I'm like, wait. So then I start
He
thinking,
just seems desperate. I don't know.
I start being like, wait, is he a serial killer? And then I was like, what? Oh, wait, is he the serial killer in Kiss the Girls?
Yes.
Because, oh my God, full circle. What if it's the same universe? I don't know. But
Sketchy.
crazy. And it's just creepy. It's a little creepy. That's my spiel on that.
Okay. Okay, two big questions for you.
Yes.
Is Jim Carrey hot?
Well, sweetie, I would say sometimes. He has potential. And this movie I would rate as his peak hotness.
Totally.
Peak hotness for me. There's something about him like in those suits. His hair is like perfect. He's like the right weight, I guess. That he like
'cause I was
looks
gonna
attractive.
say, like, he's pretty cute in Ace Ventura, but I think he's a little skinnier or something.
Yeah, I think so. And his hair's crazy.
Yeah,
and he wears crazy clothes.
Right. I mean, it's hard. As we were saying, like, Jim Carrey really went through a moment where he was mostly doing, like, very more comedic and ones that involved, like, a lot of costumes and stuff like that. Or a very different, like, look to him. So you don't really get a chance to, like, see him as a normal person, really, like, until this movie. Okay, Stanley Ipkiss. I mean, that part of it, he was, like, pretty normal.
Yeah,
But he was skinny. Yeah, a drip and, like, kind of, I think he was too skinny. So I agree.
I don't know. This is
like
peak.
his
This is
hair
peak
is the
hotness.
right like style. He's dressed really well because he gets to wear these suits all the time.
He's got those, that
his teeth
top
are
row.
amazing.
It's just the top row. If you look at the bottom, it's like super
maybe got
fucked
those
up and
capped or
overcrowded.
something,
But like the top are like chiclets, man.
Yeah.
Like crazy
Oh
teeth
my
up there.
God.
But yeah, he looks good.
Yeah, he looks
but
good.
and then I like full-heartedly admit that like most of the time not attractive. But in this movie, I think he's the most attractive.
no, it's
So
kinda crazy.
if I had to answer your question, I would say sometimes.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's like a good-looking fellow. You can't deny it. I mean, he does such crazy things with his face that you almost never see his face like at rest. So it's like really hard to really make that judgment. But I do.
Sure.
I asked before we did this because Jim Carrey plays such a great dad in this. Like we said, like seemed like a really fun dad. Like I mean, our dad was great, but that seemed like a really fun dad to have. I was like, does Jim Carrey have a kid? He does. He's a daughter, guys.
Was that with what's her face from Dumb and Dumber?
No, it was because she was born in '87,
Oh.
so she's only a year younger than you are.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, but I wonder if that's like because like I mean Jim Carrey's another comedian, like Robin Williams, who kind of has this like dark side that as most wild, outlandish comedians do.
Right.
Where they are kind of struggling with depression a lot of the time, and like the comedy is their way to kind of like combat that, I think. So I don't know if he was a good dad in real life. I can see that being like taxing just to have a dad who's like always on like that. Like
Definitely.
that's exhausting.
Yeah.
Even just, I mean, I know you're talk about the outtakes in a minute, but even just like watching that, I'm like, that must, I mean, how many takes? I mean, that was like, I'm sure it was funny every time, but like it gets to a point where you're like, okay, can we just like do one normal take? I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah. So along those same lines, like, do you think this movie qualifies as our bad dad? trope?
I don't know, because I like him. We like him. I think they made him maybe a little too likable from like Jim Carrey's comedic side being likable. Like the dad in Hook, Robin Williams is a likable guy, but like that character just like sucked. Like he had no redeeming qualities, and the kids hated him. So like this, Max likes him, like actually likes him. It's just sad that he doesn't get to hang out with him as much.
Right. That's right. That's what I was saying kind of in the beginning, that it's like it really, you can tell that he really is a good dad, but between his career and that he just can't show up for stuff because his career and because he's a little bit selfish. Like, yeah, that's what makes him a bad dad. Okay. Do you think there would be a different take on it though if these three actors actually got to play the role? Because these are the other people that they thought were going to be possibly play Fletcher Reed. Ready? Steve Martin.
Too old.
Yeah, too old, huh? But I think that would have been.
It would have been fine,
pretty
but
good.
I think that maybe too old.
Okay, at one point they were going to do a gender spin on it and do Goldie Hawn as the mom lawyer. I would like to see that as like the redo.
I know, although that's another lazy thing. Like, okay, I got it, guys.
Yeah.
We do Overboard, but like reverse.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. We do Big, but like with black people, and it's a girl.
Yeah. But I wonder if they thought that like a woman couldn't, like you wouldn't have that likability. You couldn't get her to be likable in the beginning.
She'd probably be like a crazy bitch and like, awful.
And then how do you do like a mom divorce and isn't showing up for her kid? It happens, but like not as much, obviously, because as we're talking about, bad dad, like such a trope. And then Hugh Grant would have been a totally different movie because his character, his like bumbling little self, is like again like super charming, and it just wouldn't have been half as funny. It would have been like cute.
He can be a jerk sometimes. He's like a jerk in Bridget Jones, right?
Yeah, but but like to tell the truth, like kind of funny moments.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that, and I mean, again, the British thing. It's just too much. It's not. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. They made the right choice. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
How much do you know about law stuff? What's your random favorite law thing?
Okay. In this, I know I was gonna say, I mentioned in the beginning of this movie. Okay, this is like a movie about like regular guy in a zany situation, magic wish, like I forgot my other one was.
And a court movie.
And and it's really a courtroom drama, guys. And is that my favorite? Yes. What was my favorite part?
Favorite law thing.
Like thing that they say?
Just that they do. Like, I don't know. Just the thing you're always looking out for in law movies or like Judge Judy. I don't know.
Objection? Order in the court?
Sure. So mine is, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
That happened? Where was I getting a
the
cookie?
Judge says it. So
oh my God.
I always thought, and like they do this, it's order in the court, whatever. But sometimes they say the old fashioned like oh yes.
Oh, I haven't heard that in my courtroom's experience.
But I guess it's a British thing. But I looked it up and it means hear ye, like cool. Or whatever. But if you do the judge does say it twice, and I was like, oh man, what is that? And it's always a crossword clue, and I'm like, what is that?
How do you spell it?
I think it Oyez.
Wow.
Oh yes. It's pretty funny. Good times. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have one. I mean, this wasn't like obviously super courty, but I feel like the ending like was clever, and I guess the director Tom Shadyac is a former lawyer, so he actually has like that law experience, so he could make it truthful, guys.
What a career change.
Yep.
I also
that would be like a legit thing that could happen.
Okay. And the last thing I wanted to do is give a shout out to Paper Chains. In the school scene, there's like a one of the decorations. There's like paper chains. So if you're not familiar, one of the crafts, the projects you would do in art class, say, is, hey kids, let's make a paper chain. So you cut up these little strips of paper into like little things, and then you take the paper and you like staple them, so they form a ring.
Right.
And then you take those rings and you connect them all together. It becomes a chain, and you're like, wow, it's a paper chain.
It's like the project du jour in kindergarten. That's like all
that's why when I saw
doing.
it hanging on the door, I was like, oh my god, that's amazing.
Let's make paper chains, kids.
Like, I want to make one right now.
Oh man, construction paper was my
Construction
jam.
paper, pipe cleaners. Holy shit, I
stuff,
can't even
good stuff.
tell you. Good times. Glue,
Oh
in
my God.
general.
Glue
I
sticks.
mean, great. I don't know if anyone else's school did this, but our art teacher in elementary school did this thing where, like, for the glue, you each got like a little square of paper, and she'd come around with the glue and drop some glue on your paper, and then you would dip your finger in it, and then you'd use that to like put glue on stuff. And then the best part was when the glue dried, you could peel it off and be like, whoa, the skin's coming off. It was like my favorite thing to do, right?
I do remember those little chunks of paper.
And it was the white glue, so not the
Elmer's.
school glue, not the clear. Remember, but we'd always
Yeah.
get like the blue clear Elmer's
For
glue.
home, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at school it was like that white paste. So like, ugh, man,
Elmer's glue, man.
that really brings me back.
I remember from that art teacher. Do you remember this? So you'd be like coloring and stuff, and she'd be like, like put work in it, and she would call it peanut butter power. Do you remember this?
No. Weird.
When you're coloring and you really want to like press down hard to make a good color,
Why is it peanut butter power?
because you ate peanut butter and jelly for lunch.
How did she know you ate peanut butter?
Because you were 6 years old, and that's what everyone had for lunch.
Well, that's very presumptuous. That's
She was
funny.
pretty mean, that lady.
She was mean,
Mrs.
but
Houghton.
like probably nice.
Yeah.
But maybe we just our percent. I don't know. I remember Mom and I saw her at like Phoenix Fruits once when I was like in high school, and I was like, Miss Houghton.
Yeah, she was like tiny, right? Yeah. Tiny little woman. Like, why were we terrified of her? I mean,
know.
obviously we were tiny,
I
but
don't know.
like, yeah, she was rough, guys. We had some rough, like, extracurricular teachers.
Yeah.
The music teacher, don't really get us started. Oh my god.
Hey, he kicked me out.
Oh no, the woman.
Mr. Oh,
Mrs. Slater.
Mrs. Slater.
Oh,
Well,
God.
all the music teachers in elementary school were horrible, except for my third grade one or second grade one, Mr. Tileston. He was the best. But like traditionally,
Not Mr. Hagopian.
I don't think I had him.
Okay, he was
Yeah.
like a second. Then went to the
Mr.
middle school.
Honduresik, who was our band teacher,
Oh, he was great.
Kicked me out of band practice because I was cracking too many jokes.
I liked him a
if
lot.
you remember. I did like him, but I don't know if he liked me because I was.
Do you
class clown.
remember Mr. Brookhart? He was there for like a second. I was in 5th grade. He used to kick Andy Nickerson out of like class all the time for like
No.
just because I
Oh
think
my
he was like
God.
anti. This kid had like a some special needs, and he would kick him out. And we like were on Andy's side, so we like protested and refused to go to music one day. We had like a protest.
Obviously, did he get fired halfway through the school year? Weird.
He was only there for like 1 year.
Oh, weird. Yeah, I don't remember him.
Yeah, but isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
5th grade protest, guys.
You go, guys.
Yeah,
You go.
Yeah, Andy. Okay, so I have just 2 more things. So like random. Okay, the trivia was pretty like scarce, but the ones that they said were pretty good, and I never had ever seen or guessed. Right. Okay, so in the first scene when Fletcher like finishes with his case, is like coming down the stairs of the courtroom. This lawyer is like, "Hey, Fletcher, like you won that case," and he's like, "Yeah, man," like blah 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 blah. That lawyer is Christopher Darden, the famous lawyer from O.J. Simpson. Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Wild.
And then in the final scene when Fletcher had gotten ejected off that thing and broke both of his
Somehow
legs,
didn't die.
Yeah, didn't die, and he's like in the stretcher, and his like family's on the side, and there's like all this crew of like firemen and like police officers and just like bystanders from the plane, right? So in the back you see Jim Carrey dressed as his character Firefighter Bill from In Living Color. Oh my god, his teeth are like up like
What was
this,
that
remember?
sketch? Like, what was that sketch?
He was like a pyromaniac, like firefighter, and he was always like getting blown up in his own buildings, and his hair would be all burnt. He was just like the worst firefighter
So yeah,
ever.
you can see him there. In
Oh
the
my
background.
God, it's hilarious.
And he still has the Fletcher like bruise, the like scratch on his face. You can see it like under the sunglasses or whatever. Oh my god, it's hilarious. Good Easter egg.
Yeah, good Easter egg. And then finally, this movie I have always remembered for the outtakes. So like when you would be watch a movie in a theater and like your what's that called?
Credits, end credits.
End credits, but like like Avengers used to do that thing where like
Post-credits?
yeah, like a post. No, it's something else, isn't it?
Mid-roll sequence credits.
Wow, these are like
mid-rolls
fancy
credit.
Anyway, so
sequence.
it's like the credits, and then after they play like either extended scenes or like bloopers, right? So the bloopers guys, I remember in the 90s, wasn't there a whole show of like just bloopers?
Whoa.
It was called Bloopers.
I was going to say, what was it called? Bloopers?
And it was kind of like a candid camera, like that guy maybe, like doing it, or like Bob Saget or something. I don't know.
I vaguely remember.
And they're so funny. So when, obviously you're doing shows and movies, you're doing several takes because someone cracks up, someone flubs a line, blah, blah, blah. And obviously for comedy, especially Jim Carrey movies, as Sweetie said, like, and I think Robin Williams was like this too, like half of their stuff's improv and basically the director just like keeps like whatever works. So they do a couple bloopers in this and they're really good. And it makes you like Jim Carrey like that much more. But as Sweetie was saying, also like that must be annoying to work with.
But they seem to be having a good time. But I don't know. We didn't see like all the takes.
Right.
But like, there was a lot of funny moments in that. And just like, you can really tell that it's all like improv because like it's different every time. The outtakes, like what he says in all those situations or how he says the line. And like, he just does it's just such like little changes and like it's wild. Also, I didn't realize that like it is a great pleasure to see Jim Carrey scrunched up in a big duffel bag and trying to like break free from it is like one of the greatest things. But it's like Ace Ventura in the box, like
but also
or the Rhino.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so we haven't done Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls yet, which is a hilarious movie. Can't wait to do it. But my favorite scene in that is when he's like stuck in the rhino and he's using it to like spy on like the guy, and he gets
not a real rhino.
Yeah, it's not a real rhino. Yeah. So he uses it to get really close and spy on people, but then he gets like it's kind of hot in these rhinos. That was one of our trivia names.
Fan goes out.
It's like really hot in there, so he's sweating. So then he peels off all his clothes. It's so hot, he still can't take it. So he busts out of the rhino because the back is like this plastic, and it looks like the rhino's giving birth.
Well, the only hole is in the butt, so it's like this teeny little hole, and he squeezes his head through, and it looks like, and there's like a safari, and like the parents like, look, kids, that rhino's giving birth to a baby. Let's watch. So they watch, and they think it's a baby rhino, and it's like a naked guy, just comes out of the rhino.
Oh god, the funniest scene! His like hands come out first, and they make these like crazy movements.
His like face, like the thing.
The dad is watching his face,
and then they run away, and they're like, "Run away!" So good.
So anyway, it reminded me so much of that scene.
He's great at that.
Jim Carrey like stuck in a tiny space,
getting out. God. One of my favorite things. Somebody make like a compilation of all those moments. Would love that. Thank you. Cool. All right. Whew. Good times. Good laughs. I hope you guys like Liar Liar. If you have favorite parts you'd like to share with us, come and find us on Twitter at The Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thank you as always for listening. Bye.
Bye.